Hello Internet, it's time for another Wednesday serial and we're coming around with the 52. And first up is Batman, and this is actually really compelling. Out of all the second issues, this one, I just got into a Batman issue and just read it through and was just compelled all the way through. I can't tell you how rare that is. This is the only Batman proper sort of book to be picking up at all. It's just miles ahead of the rest. So, alright, Birds of Prey 2, and this one kind of brings Katana into the fold as the mystery with the Invisible Men kind of pick up. And the cliffhanger is, oh my god, Poison Ivy, part of the group, which isn't anything. She was on the first cover. We've been waiting to see how she's supposed to fold in. She just kind of shows up. I don't know. This book is not anything near the Birds of Prey of many creators past, and it's very easy to give this book just a wait and see, or just let it run for a while and come back, because it is not on the level, and it's moving far too slow for something that used to be, 3 issues and you're on to the next mystery. Blue Beetle, he pukes on some expensive shoes, and this story has been written almost verbatim before. Go pick up Blue Beetle issues 1 through 6. A few years ago, it's the same beats. Oh my god. Alright, Captain Atom 2 is doing something that very few superhero books can do. They're making the character insanely more powerful, which is making him far more interesting. By opening up the idea of the atom and just dealing with floating energy and being able to essentially tap into radio waves and wireless bits just as he goes, it creates a weird power yet debilitating bit, and it's hoping it touches upon the overflow of information, which is something I haven't seen in comics since Cable and Deadpool, and just the potential that's opened up with this comic for this character alone means this is a book worth reading, worth doing. It's pretty cool for that alone, so check that out. Catwoman somehow manages to be just somewhat offensive to feminists all around by starting off with just continuing that weird rapey thing that they left off on, and then going right into the girls in refrigerator syndrome. Classy. DC presents Deadman, and this issue hits a weird, bizarre juxtaposition between supernatural and just kind of street level, kind of 20s mafioso sort of deal, which I don't know how I feel about it. It's definitely offbeat, but meh. Show if that's the kind of feel you're looking for. She give it a shot. Okay, I'll stop. Green Lantern Corps, in which we see them deal with robots that can handle green light. Kind of like a throwback to things being yellow, but in a different way. Whatever. I gotta say, it was interesting, but the art on this issue was edging more towards realism than cartoony, and for any epic space thing where you have a number of alien races and all that, it always looks better when you air with a bit more of the cartoonist, just kind of broad basic lines angle, just because otherwise you just start looking at things, they just don't look. Not only do they not look right, because it's all alien, I guess there's something to be said for that, but it just looks more fake instead of just drawing you into the story more. It's an artistic decision, but it just doesn't hold the same weight, and it kind of kills the story a little bit for it, which is a shame. Alright, the Justice League with the really crappy logo. It continues, and this is paced better than the last issue, I will say that. It's actually fairly interesting and moves along. We get Flash thrown in here, which is cool. And It's definitely more interesting and, like I said, picks up the pace a little. I will still say, however, that the cyborg kind of subplot building up here feels just kind of wonky, and I'd much rather be reading about some of the other developments going on than worrying about that. It just seems like, who cares? So maybe it'll tie in a bigger way, but I still don't think I'd care. However, I will say this about the Justice League comic. It's good, but with it being $3.99, I just don't see myself picking up. It's fun, it's interesting, but at $3.99, I can wait for a trade. They try to justify a little with some padding in the back, but really, I'd just rather have more pages. So, oh well. The Legion has come out, and it is baffling as ever. Actually, if you average it out, it doesn't pan out this way because there's clusters in the knot. There's roughly about 2 new characters for this issue introduced every 2 pages. How are you supposed to follow that? That's insane. Alright, it is time for Nightwing 2, and wow, I thought I was going to be following this comic. No. They do this whole old warehouse thing, and they have this dying man that he's supposed to go meet there. Why isn't the old dying man in a hospital? Not really explained. That's cool. Whatever. Apparently he has a secret about the circus, and oh my god. And then they have this terrible layout where they have the bat signal and hawking off of Batwoman, I guess? Why? And just everything about this just went from like interesting, kind of doing a cool new Nightwing thing, to derivative. Also, what's really weird is they're playing off this whole guy going after Grayson for being a killer, but it's never really tied to the Batman issue that also came out this week that has that in it as well. If you're gonna have that going on, why not tie it together? Why not make it more interesting? Especially considering right now people are probably picking up both the books, and whatever. I gave it a shot and it just fell on its face. Alright, Red Hood and the Outlaws. This is the first issue, too, that managed to do something amazing. Pull itself around. The art in that book is awesome. And there was some cheesecake in there, but it was at a cheesecakey level that I would not catch the ire that the first issue caught along with Catwoman last month. But this story kind of went along, and I kind of realized there's no way you could tear this book away from DC for a lot of the little character things going on, but you could more or less have a very similar independent book, and if you had, I don't think it would have caught any of the flack, and actually probably gotten a lot of love for being a pretty crazy superhero book outside of Marvel and DC at that point, but just kind of doing kind of what they do in a bizarre different way. And I think if you're kind of iffy after the first one, the only issue you had with it last time was the few panels that caused the whole debacle. I gotta say, this might be worth another shot. This might be worth checking out issue 2. Certainly if you felt strongly against it, don't pick it up. I'm gonna at least really give the third issue a good strong look, because I'll be checking out the third issues of all these, but I'm really curious about this book. It might just turn itself around and be one of the gems out of this whole thing yet, so color me surprised. Supergirl 2 didn't make it much further than Supergirl 1. Okay, I guess I should clarify that. She fights Superman and is really knuckin' confused as to about what's going on. So yeah, that's what happened the last issue. This is terrible pacing. Wonder Woman, so much of what the first issue should have been isn't here. You get a much better sense for Wonder Woman as a character now in this whole new bit. And it says so much more. Honestly, I think if they introduced this, then brought in the first issue's bit more, which would have been totally possible, it would have flown better. I don't know. At least in my mind. I know it's been pretty well received, but it didn't sit so well with me. So that's my 2 cents on that. I'm pretty indifferent to it. There you go. So yeah, that's kind of my bittersweet video for the week. Some likes, some dislikes, but you should like this video and comment or leave a death threat below. Okay, thanks, bye.